Hello, nice to meet all of you. I'm Patricia with Music at Kohl Mansion, and I am so delighted to have all of the members of the Fauré Quartett with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, I'm Erika from the Fauré Quartett. I'm the violinist, and at the moment I am in England. And I would very much like to say hello to Burlingame and to Music at Kohl's. And I'm very, very sorry that we are not there in person, but I hope to do that in the future.
Hi, my name is Dirk Momets. I'm the pianist of the group, and I'm really terribly sad that we are not able to come this time to our beloved San Francisco, which is one of our favorite towns indeed. And I'm now sitting in Munich, so quite around the corner from Erika. But that's the way we talk and we work in these days anyway with the quartet, so we are used to it.
Hello, everybody. Again, I'm Sasha, the viola player of the quartet, and I live since many years in Berlin.
Hey there, in the Bay Area. Well, it's really one of our favorite places in the world. We're terribly sorry not to be there. My name is Konstantin. I play the cello. Maybe you can tell that's a cello. It's just a white thing, but it's a cello case. Exactly. And I'm also in Berlin.
Tell us a little bit about what you have done for the last 6 months since the beginning of this lockdown, and whether you've been able to play together or separately. How's it been for the quartet?
Our mood is really challenged by this, and what we tried at least to took the chance to do something useful, and this was in this year the preparation of our anniversary actually, and this is connected to a new recording. So we went into the studio, took a lot of time to record the piano quartets of Fauré again.
So this is a good time to talk about your anniversary.
Well, we all met in October 1995 in Karlsruhe, and 2 of us were already there, and no, actually 3 of us, 3 of them were already there, and I came a year later, and they asked me if I just wouldn't want to play piano quartet just for fun. And now 25 years later, it's actually still fun. So here we are, trying to have an anniversary. And we are still the same for people who met then. It's fantastic that we are still together, and we really planned a lot of lovely concerts and celebrations and this new CD for the anniversary, and we'll be trying to do as much of that as possible, or postpone to next year, because there's no reason why we shouldn't go on celebrating.
Absolutely. Tell us, why did you choose to name the quartet after Gabriel Faure, who's of course a very renowned French composer?
Well, Fauré to us is of course very special composer. We had to think about him a lot lately because of our recording, and we had to dive into his music even more. We took songs to go into a smaller form, and well, to break it down a little bit, what's so special about him? I think it's on one hand the simplicity. It's very simple, singable melodies he uses and he invents. It's very heartwarming. On the other side, it's the inner depth. It's really coming from the soul. It's music that touches you right away. It has this sensitivity, and I think it's music that has to fly. So that's the hard part also about it. As a group, we need to let go so that the sound can start flying. And then he is a very big specialist for ecstatic moments. It's very, well, exuberant music that takes you away and really lets you forget about everyday life, which we can really need these days.
Indeed. And of course, he wrote some very beautiful songs, and I'm happy to hear that songs are on the recording, but also that you will be playing 2 of those songs for us. For Music at Kohl Mansion, so that's delightful. Can you talk a little bit about your process when you come together and begin to rehearse a piece, maybe a piece you haven't visited in a while, or a new piece that you haven't played together before? What's the process? How do you approach the new piece?
I think the process is normally the same with all pieces we play. Once one of us brings the music into a rehearsal, we try it several times, and normally there's no discussion if yes or no. Yes, we are a very democratic quartet, but normally the taste is quite equal. Normally we are fully agree to play it, and so that then the homework starts for everybody, and it's a nice process.
Do you talk at all about imagery? Do you talk about the stories that come to your mind from the music? And do you talk about the composer and what was going on in his or her mind and in his or her life as you're rehearsing? Or do you come to the piece with all of that maybe already in the back of your mind, or not at all?
I think, first of all, there's the objective stuff. That's the music, that's the score. And we really need to understand what's there. Also, harmonies belong to this. The rhythm, the big rhythm, how many bars connect to form something, a phrase or something meaningful. And then when you really understood this object, or when you really try to understand this objective matter of music, then you can start to lift off, and then you can really let your imagination go. And I think it's more that you cannot have a fixed story, but you can have a feeling, an emotional feeling connected to the symmetry of grammar the composer has, so that you really take off and fly away and more improvise on it actually. And when we rehearse, we have all kinds of language. It can be really technical. This is not rhythmical what you do there, or we can say, well, you really don't make me feel in love with this line. So we can have all the layers of human being when we describe music. We can be really direct, very poetic, sometimes pretty harsh. We have harsh discussions also. Sometimes we just laugh along, or we dream along together. So all sorts of layers, and that's what actually makes this working in this group still so interesting, that it can go any direction. There's never a stop to it actually. You're never really there. You're always on a journey.
In case of Fauré, for example, which is a composer we discover now for 25 years already, and we dare to make a second recording of the quartets, because this is not our first recording. Our debut CD was also with Fauré, but it's a totally different experience, and for us it's a totally different approach to this music. In the end, I think what matters is to find the truth behind the music, and the composers, they show us the truth, and we have to unfold it. And this is, of course, a process which has a lot of parts to go through. The biography of the composer, where did he come from? The language he speaks, the language he composes, all the technical stuff, which is our daily work. And in the end, of course, much higher things matter than only the pure text and the pure technical things, but it's a lot of work actually.
What a difference 25 years makes, right? And beginning with the recording of the Fauré Quartets, and now 25 years later, re-recording, it must be a fascinating journey. Absolutely. I'm also very happy to hear you use the word improvise, Konstantin, because it's not something we usually hear a lot about in classical music and chamber music. Elaborate a little bit on what that means within the score, within the music that the composer wrote.
We have to be aware in our life that each second when we live, it's improvising. Mm-hmm. And if we don't improvise, we would be killed by a lorry if we cross the street immediately, because we could not react. And only because there's a written text by a composer who wants to tell us a story, that doesn't mean that you have to stick to one way to play it. And it's only possible when you make one sound that you have to see where it goes, and you never know where the sound goes now, where it will go tomorrow, in which room you are, in which context you are. You always should have a concept and a structure, but in the end, improvising is the most essential things in our life, in our living, in our daily life, in our connection to other people. Everything depends on improvising.
This is also very much something which keeps the music alive, and I'm very happy that we are kind of for individuals who are able to put their individuality into the music, because otherwise it would always be the same. And with this improvising attitude, I think we managed just to keep the piece alive even after years, and you always discover something new in each performance, and that is something I absolutely love and adore. After 25 years, you know the body language of the others quite well, and you know what they mean, and you can react immediately to what they are saying with their instruments. And I think in the beginning of an ensemble, you always try to find one sound and get everything together first when you are students. But after such a long time, I think you have the luxury actually to go back to individuality. And I think this is one phase I really adore.
We had one funny moment in one rehearsal, maybe last year or 2 years ago, just before a concert, when we told each other, in this concert today, let's not try to play together. And this was a very inspiring evening, because it gave exactly this, what Erika just mentioned. We tried to focus on not depending only on each other and going a step back, but going a step forward, which made the interpretation even more intensive. After 25 years, you should try this out.
Well, you're making us even more eager to hear you in person and to see those dynamics working. So I think the last question I want to ask you maybe is a little bit about your own selves as individuals. What does each of you like to do when you're not rehearsing and playing music together? What's your favorite thing to do? Start with you, Konstantin.
Well, that was one good aspect actually about the lockdown or the quarantine, was to have more time with family. I really enjoyed that. And actually we were allowed then to go back to teach in school. I also enjoyed teaching even a little more. I was a little bit more thankful than I used to be actually. So it was actually a good aspect. If I would have more freedom to go around, I would like very much to go diving again, scuba diving. I really loved that, to do that before the kids came, but maybe now they're old enough and I actually could take them with me. So I not only like to dive into music, but also into seawater.
Dirk, how about you?
It's also connected to the elements. And I remember last time I was in San Francisco, I had an afternoon free. I was sitting at the beach in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I saw all the kite surfing guys. And this is one thing I actually do since 20 years. And the other thing is, in the air, it's paragliding. And this is something which can distract you from the whole world and makes you really fly.
And I imagine you bring that to your music then.
I try.
It's just really hard that the grand piano takes off. He doesn't really achieve that. We have a good combination, because Konstantin can prepare for Schumann, going deep into the water, and Schubert, and I can prepare for Mendelssohn and Fauré from the air. From the air,
brilliant. How about you, Erika?
Well, I think my hobbies aren't nearly as exciting as the others, because they are kind of cliche, I would say. Downstairs, I just had today's baking results of a bread and some muffins, and I also actually like sewing very much and trying to yeah, I don't know, and I like to be creative outside of music as well. So it's not very exciting to create a cake or a dress or something, but that is something which is very relaxing, and I just enjoy doing that.
But it's very, very yummy. It's very, very good.
Thank you.
And your activity is something you can share with everybody else, and that's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, that's fun. That is also very good.
How about you, Sasha?
Well, I have 3 little girls, so that takes a lot of time, but it's also really joy for me to spend all the time with them, especially during the lockdown. Whenever it's possible, I love to do sports. I do a lot of fencing, and to to be in the nature gives me a good balance for the job.
Fencing sounds like dangerous for the fingers, no?
Not really. I'm good protected.
What else have I not asked you that you would like to tell us about?
Well, we all are addicted to ice cream. That really is something that we share. We were in Vermont near, well, a very famous American factory for ice cream. There's the letters B and J, and it was minus something. It was really in the winter, but we didn't have anything else to do. We had to go to the factory and buy a lot of ice cream for ourselves. So we love ice cream.
And we even changed our travel plans once in Italy just in order to get to an ice cream place. And the quartet, they trusted me, and we went there, taking 1 hour of a different route, and it was amazing.
Definitely worth it. Definitely.
Thank you for telling us that, because we'll have to remember that when you come to Berlin Games. I want to thank each of the members of the Fauré Quartet for spending these few minutes with us, with me today. And we can't wait to hear you first virtually online, and then hopefully very soon in person. Thank you so very, very much to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.